If you go by what they've agreed to already, the money being spent on the M74 extension, which is going to be creating a huge amount of pollution with extra traffic, the money that's proposed to be spent on the Aberdeen bypass, the money that is proposed to be spent on which I'm sure they are still hoping to plan to get away with the second Forth road bridge rather than a replacement Forth road bridge. Just to name those for a start, it doesn't exactly boost one's confidence that the government have really got the idea. Couple that with the fact that they don't seem to be disposed to be either placing any curbs on the expansion of air transport or on applying themselves to working with Westminster to improve the rail links between here and London. And I'm not extraordinarily optimistic. The other side of the coin is that progress in some areas has been made. They are saying the right things in some areas, and at the moment let's see what happens with the consultation. That is going to be the proof of the pudding, what happens in committee and what happens when the recommendations come before the new Scottish Government. Aviation must be included in any calculations really from today. It is absolutely appalling that aviation has been left out. A, of course, because of the huge part it's already playing in climate destruction. B, because governments across the world are still planning for further aviation expansion. Rail travel is already, in terms of time and convenience, actually thoroughly competitive with air travel. People simply don't realize it. Air travel, however, is still so unfairly subsidized that it's very difficult for the rail companies to compete. That's got to be set right. The free market is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, driver for climate destruction. What we've got to do is to create a different level playing field where when businesses compete with each other, instead of competing for the bottom, for the worst in terms of the environment, they're competing for what's going to be best for the environment. And this is just simply a new set of criteria. Some businesses will survive, some businesses will not survive. But it's no different competitively in that sense of survivors and people who don't survive than we have at present. It is not going to be beyond the wit of man to construct an economy, or economies in fact, in the third world and in the, I would say, not the advanced world, the over-exploiting world, that will manage to provide very high quality of life for people without over-exploiting the resources of the earth. The bottom line is that we've got to do it because we're not going to survive if we don't do it. I think that the way we should feel about things at the moment is intelligent optimism is the way I have to look at it. In other words, to say to ourselves, these things could happen, these things must happen, and everybody should do their very best to make sure that they do happen. What the World Development Movement can do is first of all stress the links between us and the rest of the world. Secondly, to stress the huge inequalities that we have at present. And then show how dealing with climate change is going to help the poorest in this country and the poorest in the world. But I think possibly above all, that people in this country should realize that if we don't get it right, the people who are going to suffer worst in their millions, possibly even billions, are going to be the people in Southern Africa, in South America, in the Far East, who are going to suffer before we do, who are going to suffer starvation, flooding, disease on a scale unprecedented in the history of the world. It's not just worth keeping up the pressure. We can sell this. because it's going to be better for everybody as we go along. We're going to be healthier, we're going to have cleaner cities, we're going to have warmer houses that are going to cost less to heat, we're going to have better public transport, we're going to have cleaner open spaces, we're going to have an increase in biodiversity, the countryside is going to be more interesting, we're going to have cleaner food, we're going to have a greater variety of foods. All these things are happening as a direct result of environmental green campaigning on climate change. The future is very green indeed.